Most people think mental strength is about being tougher than everyone else, never showing weakness, never doubting yourself. But Nietzsche saw it differently. He believed a truly strong mind doesn't come from hardening your heart. It comes from forging a purpose so unshakable that nothing can tear it apart. He wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. If you have that kind of why, you can endure storms that would break most people. And sometimes that strength is so rare, it scares them." Today, we're going to explore what Nietzsche really meant by this, and how you can build a mind so strong it can stand in the fire of life without collapsing. We'll draw directly from his philosophy. Twilight of the Idols, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, the gay science, and we'll break it into 3 parts: understanding your why, embracing hardship, and creating your own values. Along the way, I'll share a real-life example and some practical steps you can start today. Let's start with the idea that made Nietzsche's line famous. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. For him, the why wasn't just a goal or dream. It was something deeper, a reason for living, that you arrive at yourself, not one handed to you by society, religion, or tradition. He warned that if you simply inherit your values from the crowd, they'll collapse when life gets difficult. Your why has to be something you've chosen, something that belongs to you alone. Nietzsche's own life was proof of this. For most of his adult years, he was chronically ill. He suffered from blinding headaches, digestive issues, and near constant nausea. Many days he couldn't work more than a few hours. Yet, during this time, arguably his most physically miserable, he produced the works that would make him one of the most influential philosophers in history. His why was to challenge humanity, to rise above complacency, to push past the comfort of the herd, and to create a new way of living. That purpose didn't vanish when life hurt. It burned brighter. And that brings us to the second point. Hardship isn't the enemy, it's the forge. Nietzsche rejected the idea that the goal of life is to eliminate suffering. He saw suffering as essential to growth, even to joy. In The Gay Science, he writes about amor fati, the love of fate. This is the radical acceptance of life exactly as it is, not just enduring the hardships, but saying yes to them as part of your path. Think of a blacksmith shaping steel. The blade doesn't get strong in spite of the fire. It gets strong because of it. The repeated heating and hammering transform it into something that can't be bent. For Nietzsche, the mind works the same way. Every setback, every challenge, every rejection is heat and hammer. Avoiding them leaves you soft. Facing them and integrating them into your identity makes you unbreakable. So here's your first step. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" start asking, "How can this make me stronger?" This isn't about pretending pain feels good. It's about refusing to let it be wasted. But there's a third element that Nietzsche thought was even more radical: creating your own values. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, he introduces the idea of the Übermensch, the overman, or beyond man. This is someone who refuses to live by inherited rules, who writes their own code for living. It's not about being superior to others. It's about being free from the chains of what he called slave morality, values designed to keep you small, obedient, and safe. Ask yourself, how many of your beliefs about success, failure, and worth are truly yours? How many are hand-me-downs from family, school, culture? Nietzsche would say, burn the ones that don't belong to you. Build your own. You can see this in people who make unconventional life choices. Think of someone who leaves a high-paying corporate job to work on a small community project they believe in. On paper, it looks like a loss, but to them, it's alignment. That's terrifying to people who've never questioned their own path, because it reminds them of the choices they're afraid to make. Your second step, write down the top 5 values you live by. Then ask yourself, where did I get these? If you can't trace them to your own conscious choice, they might not belong to you. So why would a mind like this terrify people, not because it's aggressive or hostile, but because it's free. When you have your own why, when you've embraced hardship instead of avoiding it, and when you live by values you created, you can't be controlled by fear of loss or rejection. That kind of independence is unsettling to those who rely on conformity for their own security. Think about it. If you can bear almost any how, people can't threaten you with discomfort. They can't shame you into doing what they want. They can't lure you with hollow rewards. Your strength reveals their dependence, and that's what rattles them. Your third step, practice saying no, not out of defiance, but out of alignment. Each time you refuse something that goes against your values, you're proving to yourself that your why matters more than approval. So far, we've talked about Nietzsche's 3 pillars for building an unshakable mind: finding your personal why, embracing hardship as the forge, and creating your own values. In the next section, we'll go deeper into how to actually live this out day to day, because having these ideas in your head is one thing, but embodying them in real life is where the transformation happens. Living with a mind this strong isn't about being invincible. It's about being rooted. Nietzsche never promised that purpose would erase pain. He promised that purpose would give pain meaning. And when pain has meaning, it stops being just an obstacle. It becomes fuel. The truth is, a strong mind doesn't emerge in isolation. It's forged in the friction between who you are now and who you could be. That's why Nietzsche's philosophy wasn't just abstract. It was lived. He endured isolation, ridicule, and constant illness, yet he created work that still shapes how we think about strength over a century later. He didn't just talk about bearing anyhow, he embodied it. And here's the hard part. Building a mind like this means accepting that comfort will never be your highest priority. There will be seasons where you feel alone in your choices. People might misunderstand you, question you, or even resent you for stepping off the path they're still on. But Nietzsche would argue that this is the price of freedom. If you want to be unshakable, you have to be willing to stand apart. So what does this look like in real life? It starts with an honest inventory. Ask yourself, if I lost everything I've built on the outside, my job, my reputation, my routines, what would still be holding me up on the inside? That's your foundation. If you can't find it yet, that's not a failure. That's the work. Then you practice amor fati, not grudging acceptance, but an active embrace of your life as it is, with all its jagged edges. When something difficult happens, instead of resisting reality, you integrate it. You look for the lesson, the leverage, the unexpected strength it's bringing you. Finally, you keep your values in sight and you prove them to yourself through action. This is what makes your mind truly formidable. Not that you win every battle, but that your choices are anchored to something deeper than fear or approval. Over time, that kind of consistency becomes visible to others. Some will admire it, some will envy it, and yes, some will be unsettled by it. Because here's the thing, when you live by your own why, you reveal how many people are living without one. That's not a judgment. It's a wake-up call. Your life becomes a mirror they might not want to look into. And that's why Nietzsche's kind of strength can feel intimidating. It's rare, and it demands that others confront their own compromises. But you're not doing it for them. You're doing it because this is your one life. And as Nietzsche would remind you, your task is not to conform, but to become who you are. So build a mind that can't be broken by every storm. Love your fate, all of it, and carry a why so fierce no how can take it from you. Because the goal is not to terrify people. The goal is to live so fully that nothing, not fear, not loss, not the world itself, can make you live otherwise.